everybody, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Now, some of you will have noticed in the comment section I've been getting requests to do the Churchill gun carriage. The reason for this basically is because dude wants to see me suffer. Unfortunately for him, however, as we will see when we go onto the tech tree, I don't have the Churchill gun carriage. I have the Churchill 1, I have the Churchill 7, and it will take 49,050 XP for me to get up to the gun carriage. So, suffice to say, gun carrier even. So, suffice to say, I will not be getting that anytime soon. However, in order to avoid keeping everybody waiting for 3 years while I do that, I thought I might do a review of it, just look at its strengths and weaknesses, and maybe see if there's a replay on the World of Tanks replays website that would be worth looking at, that I could do a video about. So that is what I'm going to do. So to begin with, we are going to start with looking at the vehicle itself. Now, as you can see, oops, wrong button. How we do this? There's a preview button somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Cool. As you can see, it looks utterly hideous. From the side, it doesn't actually look too different from a Churchill. It looks like somebody sort of like super glued the turret down. But that is just awful. Look at that. Now, what are the issues with this tank? Well, let's start with the good before we move on to the bad, because it will be more efficient that way. Guns-wise, guns, it has a very good set of guns. So the first gun, we have a 3-inch AT gun. That's nothing special really, it's worse in fact than the Churchill 7's gun. 140 average damage, 112 penetration for normal rounds. 15 rounds per minute rate of fire, so that gives you about a 4-second reload, which is pretty quick, but it's not the quickest. And yeah, it's just generally a bit garbage. But then we move up, what do we have? We have a tier 7 gun, a 3.7-inch AT gun, which is much nicer looking. That is 230 average damage with 151 millimeters of penetration, and 8.6 rounds per minute rate of fire. That's better. That is a lot better. But he goes further than that because we have the tier 8 32-pounder AT gun, which I think is the only. This is the only vehicle that has that gun. I don't think any other British tanks mount it. But if we just do this Fleming tracks thing, let's stick the big gun on. Now that looks a bit better armed, and that's ridiculous. That's got, as you can see at the top here, we've got up to almost 300, over 300 damage per shot, well over 200 millimeters of penetration. It's a very, very good gun, basically, and this is a good thing. However, we have a slight issue, and this issue is the fact that the rest of the vehicle is complete and total garbage. So let's start, before we get onto the stats, let's look at the shape. So what's the big glaring problem we have with this right away? Well, this big box on the top is a box, basically. It's a big square box. It's like a cardboard box that's made out of homogeneous rolled steel plate. You'll notice the complete and total lack of angling. It's lovely and flat on all sides, including the front, the rear, as you can see there. And to add insult to injury, the gun is very, very low. It's very low placed, which means that if you're going to go over the top, if you're going over the top of the hill or something like that, the enemy is going to have a nice big target right here to aim at before your gun can poke over the top, and you can shoot back, which means that you are basically free XP for everybody. Now that's compensated for slightly because it's got pretty good gun depression and elevation angle. So you can see here -10 and +15 is actually not too shabby. So it's got quite good gun depression. So the problem is it's very tall, very flat, and just kind of a horrible target just in general. Now we move on to the armour. Where's the armour button? There was an armour button somewhere. I can't find it right now. The survivability is horrible. 88mm on the front, 63 on the side, and 50 on the rear. So it's got the chassis of a Churchill 7, and it's got the armour of a Cromwell, basically. That would probably be the best way of describing it. I think the Cromwell might be slightly lighter, but the Cromwell's armour is garbage as well. So it's like the opposite of Blade in tank terms, really. It has all of the weaknesses and none of the strengths, apart from the gun. The gun is in a fixed mantlet. Obviously you can see there's no turret, and the traverse is terrible. The traverse is 5 degrees in each direction, which means you effectively have to aim the entire vehicle all the time, because compared to tanks like the Tortoise or Soviet tank destroyers, it's got virtually no gun traverse, which is a massive pain, because since every time you move the vehicle your aim goes all over the place, and you have to move the vehicle all the time, that causes big issues. So that's a problem as well. The gun can't really traverse, and its rotational time, the rotational time of the vehicle, is very slow as well. It's like 27 degrees a second, so the tank is not manoeuvrable either. Engine power is pathetic. With a maximum engine you've got 350 horsepower, 25 kilometers an hour top speed, so it's got all of the slowness of a Churchill without having the armour, which is weird actually. You would have thought that, given that the armour was one thing that made the Churchill so slow, it would be faster, because it's still like 41 tons? How does that become 41 tons? Is that, where did the weight go? Do they stick concrete in the bottom or something? That's very strange. Yeah, and the camo. Let's look at the camo. Camo's pretty garbage as well. So basically, if you play this tank, you're screwed already before you even start. View range is pathetic. It's only 340 meters. So it's got a very good gun and nothing else going for it. That's effectively the verdict from this review. But that does not mean it can't be successful. So let's go to a game and see how this tank fares in actual combat. And here we are in our game with the Churchill gun carriage. Well, today we have the pleasure of watching TheHelmetHead play his game, because I don't own this tank and I have absolutely no desire to own it. So here we go. We are on the Serene Coast map, and he's actually bottom tier. So not only is he in a fairly terrible tank destroyer, he's also at the bottom with a large number of tier 8 heavy tanks, which ain't helpful. However, as we shall see, not only does he give a good accounting for himself, in some ways, having watched this, I think the Churchill gun carrier is one of those tanks, probably one of the few, that actually seems to be somewhat better when it's bottom tier as opposed to when it's top tier, for reasons I will explain. Now, as you can see, he is racing down here at his top velocity, being outrun by heavies. That's never fun. That's why I always drive light tanks. And he's heading down to the east side of the map. So there's this, if you look at the right mini map in the right hand corner, there's this kind of little islandy thing here, and a couple of bridges and shallows at that end, and then this kind of peninsula bit here. So what he's basically going to be doing is trying to provide support for the heavies that are going down there. But what I want to point out, what I was really impressed with when I watched this replay actually, is how intelligently he goes about it, maximising this vehicle's strengths and minimising the weaknesses. So notice where he's placed. He's hidden behind this bush here, but notice he's not directly behind it. Now, an idiot like me would be hidden directly behind the bush to allow you to see through it. However, he's not doing that, because that also means that when you shoot, enemies can see you. And the bush is much more effective cover when you're further back. And as you will see, he hardly actually gets shot at. So now I'm going to let him take over the camera, and we'll see what he does. So at the moment, he's just trying to get shots. There's a shot, but not quite good enough. The downside of this kind of hiding technique is that it makes it very difficult to... there's a shot. There you go. It's very difficult to aim, actually, because though you get a silhouette when you're pointing at a tank, you can't see any of the terrain or anything. So that's 2 hits so far, just over 500 damage. Now the reason that I have the suspicion that the Churchill gun carrier actually does better when it's bottom tier is the reason that his gun is actually very good. In fact, the only thing about it that's very good, but the gun is genuinely very good. It's high damage, high penetration, and quite fast firing, which means that at tier 8, against tier 8s you can still penetrate them. And all of the disadvantages that the tank has in terms of speed and armour aren't exactly any worse at tier 8 than they are at tier 6, because they're pretty horrible at tier 6 as well. But if you damage tier 8, obviously you get more XP, you get more credits. The damage is worth more, basically. So this seems to be one of these tanks which is actually alright at tier 8. Or less horrible at tier 8. So far we've got, I can't remember how many hits he's got, but he's got just over 700 damage, and he's basically providing support to these heavies down here. And there's a lot of enemy heavies down there, as well as a couple of mediums as well. We've got an OI, an ONI, oh gosh, T-34, an OHO. I think the OI is further back. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of Japanese sheds, massive Japanese ones, and a few others as well. But notice what he's doing is he's using the silhouette, which is something I've never been any good at, which is why this guy's much better than me. And he's staying hidden. Like, I don't think any of them have actually. He has got Sixth Sense. None of them have seen him yet. So as far as they know, they're just a bunch of damages just coming out of nowhere. However, the friendly tanks down here are now getting hammered themselves. We've only got 2 heavies left. Not enough to get the kill. An IS-6 and a T-34, both of whom are very low on health. There's an E25 doing some kind of Bugs Bunny impression. Broken impression, running around at ridiculous speed. Got a hit on him though, so E25 is at low health. All the enemy tanks are at quite low health, which is good. Now the other advantage of this gun is that as well as the high damage, it's also quite rapid fire. Oh, he just got spotted there, I think, so he's retreating around down the hill. Get one more shot off. Completely, I don't know where that one went. Hit. Now he's been spotted, yeah, so now he's legging it back down the hill. A couple of artillery strikes, missed completely. E25 is... where's E25? Was there. So he's put towards E25. There he is, there's E25. I'm not quite sure what the E25 is trying to do exactly. He's just kind of going for the artillery, I guess, but he's doing trying to get spots on the enemy heavies again, see if they're around. Can't see them. This is where I got a bit confused, because the heavies didn't really appear to push forward. They just kind of did something. I think they must have turned back to take account of the friendly lights that are over here. And there's an IS-3 threatening their base now, so I would guess that they knew about them coming back. But the E-25 doesn't go through either. He just kind of randomly drives around in circles. So he gets a little bit lucky here with the behaviour of the enemies, because they did seem to act a bit dumbly to me. Not quite enough to get E-25 there. He just legged around the corner. He's been spotted again. Pulls back behind the bank. E-25 comes around, although he's miles away. Yeah, he's not going to get him. Friendly base is now being capped. The M4 is heading back there to try and take him on. Artillery are quite rightly legging it, as you'd expect them to do. Ooh, good shot on the OI there. Knackered him. The OI, for those of you watching, the OI is Japanese heavy tank, and unusually for heavy tanks, it has very heavy rear armour and pretty light side armour. So, if you try and sneak behind an OI and shoot him in the backside, as you would with heavy tanks normally, you just get a great big fat lot of nothing, because the armour is quite thick. But the side armour is very thin indeed. You can usually go through that. So if you do come across Japanese heavies, the O series, the O, was it the OI Exp, the OI, I think the OHO, the OD as well, all have that weakness. Just don't let them shoot you, because their guns, I think, are converted naval cannons, and they are insane. Anyway, so now the helmet head is going on the attack. It is plug ugly. Ah man, this thing is hideous. It's like, it doesn't even look like a real tank. It just looks like a bathtub that somebody stuck a cardboard box on top. It's a very stupid looking vehicle. But no, he's making good use of the gun depression here, look. Minus 10 degrees of gun depression. This tank does have its advantages. I can't be too harsh on it, because there are some things about it that are good, but yeah, oh dear, it's an abortion. You got some more damage on the OI through the side. Can he get a reload, get another hit? Maybe. Yeah, he's taking the OI. The OI is now a one-hit kill to anything. which is good. I think a tier 1 tank could probably take the OI out, provided he didn't get a shot at the back. Now the enemy have got 3 heavies left. Our dude is on almost 2,500 damage. He's done a very good job. Even if he's not got any kills, he's done a very, very good job. And of those 3, 2 of them are wanting kills now. The IS-3A is about to die. He's pretty much had it. I think he's too overmatched there. But yeah, there he goes. Got the OI on 30 health. We have the T-34 on 15. Even the OHO is only on about a third of its maximum HP now. So, although strictly speaking it's 12 all, I think the HelmetHead's team has the advantage. I think here, and he just needs to get a good shot on any of them, and they're out. Except obviously for the OHO, which still has some health left. So he's just sitting there now, just waiting for somebody to poke out. AMX-12T is playing chicken, and I think he's going around the back to try and get a flanking fire. The M4A3 is... come on, behave. What am I doing? No, I don't want that. I want this. There we go. The M4A3 is over there. He is trying to go in as well. He's now essentially the main battle tank for this, because we have a tank destroyer and a light tank, so the tier... oh, there we go. Nailed him. Now he's trying to get a shot on the T-34, who's helpfully presenting his side, and then irritatingly hiding behind a shed. Turning round, is there space? No, can he get a shot? He could possibly get a shot there. I probably would have gone for that, but I would have failed. And then he got him. Yeah, the shot I would have taken probably would have bounced off his front armour. But the HelmetHead, in line with his so far rather amazing display of skill, might be able to get a better shot than the top now. So, yeah, we're on almost 2,500 damage, 2,490 to be precise, in a bathtub. And it's just the OHO. So the M4 is being, I think the M4 is being slightly too brave here. I mean, he's like OHO get 2 bits on him. HelmetHead has switched to premium ammo to try and use the extra penetration to get through the turret of the OHO. But I don't think the turret is particularly weak. It's just no cell. Can't get through that at all. I think he tries once more. Oh yeah, that one misses. And so he needs to get closer and actually, try and get some side shots. So he advances in his normal rapid way. And the other thing that's happening in this game, which doesn't happen very often in World Tanks, is the team are actually teaming, like they're talking to each other. Look, they're telling the M4 to wait. The M4 is actually waiting. So let the tank destroyer come up. They are actually working in a team, which happens rarely, if ever. It happens to me occasionally, very often. HelmetHead has now agreed on the plan. He's going to try and flank, and then realise the OHO is over there. It will take him forever to get around behind, so he might as well just drive straight in. As I say, the Churchill gun carriage is not generally famous for its high speed agility. There's the Japanese tank. He's just been spotted. Japanese tank. You can't complain that they present small targets. I have to say that for the Japanese enemies. The Sherman gets a good hit on him. OHO misses a return shot. One good tank destroyer shot. Can he get another one? And yes, he can, straight from the front armour. So, well done. And that was our boy in the Churchill gun carriage, showing you can actually get good results in this tank if you play it to its strengths. There aren't many of them, but they do exist. And if you play them well, as the HelmetHead did, you can get good results. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the example of a Churchill gun carriage working, for want of a better word. But gosh, it is ugly, isn't it? Cool, well, thank you very much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed that replay. I certainly enjoyed that replay. Thank you to the HelmetHead for uploading it onto the Replay's website, from which I downloaded it for the purposes of this video. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like it, that helps me out. If you enjoy the channel and want to watch other videos, then please hit the subscribe button and you will get, I think you get alerts and things like that. And thank you very much. I will see you in the next video.